And surprise, surprise, we're back. Like I said, we would be, not off schedule or anything. We are here. We're here to talk about the transfer portal. Here with Robby Elliott, as always, being presented on the Engage A podcast. And hopefully he stays and never leaves me because that means
No.
I've got someone else.
No. It's Engage 8 till we die, baby. It is. We're riding this thing out until we can retire, till this can be just our everyday job, right?
Yeah.
That's the actual vision here.
Yeah. Like once companies are like reaching out, like, hey, we're offering you this to have this podcast featured on blah, 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 blah.
When we're sitting on game day because ESPN buys our show the way they did with Pat McAfee. I mean, that's when man. That's when we ride it all the way to that.
Yes, indeed. All right, here to talk about the transfer portal. We're going to start off with the transfer portal as a whole and then kind of break it down into different sections. But I wanted to get your main focal points across. What your thoughts are on the transfer portal, Robby Elliott.
Oh, man. So I love the portal as a whole. I think this is just such an unbelievable thing that needed to be done because there's so many situations where just a few years ago when this thing did not exist really, that kids really couldn't get out of a bad situation for whatever reason. I mean, not many people know this, but Dante Moore, he was not in the greatest of situations over at UCLA, but a lot of people don't understand too, that a lot of the things that played into his reasoning to get out of California and probably why he won't end up even at a school like Oregon is because his mom is actually sick and he wants to be closer to home. If the transfer portal didn't exist, he's kind of stuck in LA, but other reasons where, coaching situations like McCord, like, his career would essentially have been wasted because, he had a bad season and then a coach, kind of doesn't want to take a chance on him.
So that throws for 3,200 yards and
but he's afraid of competition. Right. Yeah. But in the terms of what we're doing, I love it even more because this is NFL free agency, but in my opinion, better. There's so much entertaining stuff going on. There's so many, high school recruiting nowadays with the crystal ball predictions is kind of taking away that element of surprise. Most kids, wherever they're crystal balled is where they're going to sign. The transfer portal is fun because you kind of don't hear where people are going. You'll get
you hear you know where kids are visiting and stuff, but you really don't know what their final decisions.
No,
like no one expected Corey Brooks to commit to Alabama tonight. Like
no,
he just took a visit there today. I'm pretty sure too, which is crazy.
Exactly. So it's this whole new element. It brings back the fun, just unknowns of recruiting. And like you said, it's free agency.
There's still surprises in recruiting though. Like a lot of kids do flip. So.
Oh yeah. And I mean, the biggest one as of recent is when, Travis Hunter pulls out the Jackson State and all of a sudden one of the best recruits ever, is going to a HBCU. So, I mean, there is still stuff like that in recruiting, but this is top of the line stuff. And with what we're also doing, it gives us a chance to kind of figure out who these guys are, these guys who are super high recruits that didn't get to make a name for themselves their freshman or sophomore year. Now we get to revisit them, kind of see what they're like, what they were like in high school, talk about possible buzzes and possible just landing spots and things that they could bring to another team. It just creates so much content. And I love it as a analyst and as someone who just gets to talk about college football every day.
Yeah. I mean, how I would put it is I like it for the sense of the older guys. You're sticking it out with your program. A lot of these guys at smaller schools or maybe in a system that it doesn't work. A guy like Tyler Van Dyke, who's been in a Miami system, who's shown flashes of being a great NFL arm, but he's not in the right system. He gets to move. And then now he might be able to showcase his talent to, get him a nice payday in the NFL and maybe a nice opportunity to play. Like, that's what I really like it for. A guy like Will Howard, I believe, can be drafted as much as his arm, he's not the greatest strong arm threat ever, but his accuracy is something that doesn't get talked about enough because he's not one of the premier college football quarterbacks. Because guess what? He's playing in Kansas State. And no offense to Kansas State, actually a pretty good football program over the course of its entirety, and especially recently being ranked in the top 25, winning a Big 12 championship 2 seasons ago. That congrats to them. I'm not trying to disrespect your program, but in terms of nationality and getting your name out there and having your games being nationally televised on the biggest stages, where scouts are watching, or when you're going to go play. He's rumored to go to USC. I'm pretty sure that's where he's visiting now. Like, that's an offense where you're going to be able to probably have your highest success of your college career. Of course, I don't know now that Mario Williams just entered the portal today, and that's one of their top receivers. That's also the beauty of it. You never know who's actually going to enter. You can always speculate on who, what, why, but you never actually know really who's entering or why. Like, what's the reasoning for entering? Like the Dante Moore thing. Like, yeah. And there's a lot of these kids that are going to be 2 times. Like, there's just a whole bunch of things. And that's just the beauty of it. That's why the transfer portal season, most hectic, arguably most fun thing to follow, because it also gives me a chance, guys that got missed in high school recruiting as well. I didn't get to see a lot of these guys play, whether it's just highlights or, something that I see. Like, a lot of these guys don't get spotlighted, and then they kind of make a name for themselves at these schools, or you hear some buzz around their name going to big time schools. Like, that's just the beauty of it.
Absolutely. And to touch one more time on what you brought up first, and that is just these guys that are, at these smaller programs and now get the opportunity to go somewhere big and prove themselves. Think about, this is the thing that NFL GMs love about the transfer portal. Think about if Trey Lance had the opportunity to transfer, if Zach Wilson had the opportunity to transfer, and see if these guys could actually perform against real competition in a real NFL system. It would save them so much headache and so much, what if, and like, honestly, it could have saved the Jets and it could have saved the 49ers 2 first-round picks that probably weren't the right decision. Right. But it also, not even just to get to see them do it, right? At these programs, these coaches they're not at the highest level, right? They're not the best coaches in college football. I mean, so these guys get the opportunity to get developed.
That, like,
right, yeah, for sure.
That, but they're not. They're there.
Absolutely. But it also gives these guys the opportunity to get developed. I think about, it's not the greatest example, but a guy like Alan Bowman, who was at Texas Tech for so long, went to Michigan, never even had a chance to play in the field. And then he goes to Oklahoma State and he got developed at Michigan and then was able to, kind of put on a little bit of a clinic about what he learned and show that he's a capable quarterback. I won't call him anything more than that. Yeah, he's a jag. He's just your average guy. But at the same time, he did win some games and he got to relive, and he got to develop and he got to be a jag at a program that, he perfectly fit into. They needed him and he was just the right fit and he was better than he was at Texas Tech. It's just, there's all those opportunities that the transfer portal provides that make this thing just, for anybody that hates it, you don't know college football. You don't like the sport, so just admit it.
No, you want everything to be the same way that it's been and cannot understand that, this is more of a profitable business than it is college athletes getting their education and playing the sport that they love.
Adapt or die, baby. This is the highest level, man. This is peak college athletics. College football is the biggest college sport out there. Yes, March Madness is something that's super cool, but really only anybody actually cares about college basketball during this month of March. College football is 24/7 and the transfer portal is what makes it 24/7. This is a all year round thing that is always in the news, always being talked about.
Yeah, the only time it really dies is the summer because there is no transfer portal and there's really not like open practices or anything like
right.
So that's the only thing that like where it dies, but you get.
But even then, the sport is so loved and exactly the build up, hype. Yeah. Like, what are these teams going to do?
What me and Robby are going to do over the summer is, it's going to be this is what I kind of did over the off season, kind of just freelance. But me and Robby, we're going to probably jump on here like 3 times a week and talk about these Power 5 or even some big group of 5 programs that have high expectations. Yeah. I kind of like to adopt the Bud Elliott summer school system, just kind of taking a look as a team as a whole, doing our research, finding, these diamonds in the rough, because even though
breaking down the program literally into just every little sector that you can and just showing you and giving you the best preview of what you're going to get week 1 and hopefully the entire season if our breakdowns and analysis is truly prophetic.
Yeah, and I mean, I go back and, see some of mine like Washington, them being I said they were probably going to be a really good team. They were, I didn't do a Louisville episode, but, they were a team that I was very high on preseason. Guess what? They won or they didn't win it. They should have, but,
They were there. That's all that matters. The prediction
Yeah,
wasn't ever that they were going to win the ACC championship. It was they were going to play in it, and they
right.
played in it.
And I mean, as crazy of a take as it was at the time, Robbie's own words. That's a bold take.
Bold take. Bold take.
And I like.
I'll wear that one on the chin, man. It was bold, but like you said, I got to give credit where credit is due. But yeah, so let's freaking dive into this thing, man. This thing has been crazy.
The casual me and Robbie rambling session, going into a show.
They know that comes. Everybody that listens on a regular basis knows that this is coming, and they're excited for it. It's part of the episode.
I know I always
unwritten script.
I know I do this at the end, but also make sure you like, subscribe, share, give us a 5-star review if you're listening on podcast platforms. We want this to reach as much fans that want to follow us as possible. And with you guys doing that, that helps us tremendously, be able to grow while also supporting the best podcast in the college football landscape.
Absolutely. All right. So
hold on. We gotta give the proper intro. All right. There we go.
But who cares? Because that is absolutely epic intro to this thing.
Yes, because that's it makes the whole thing. It's Travis Scott, one of the craziest artists, known for their live performances, and we're not going to talk about what happened at Astro World in Houston, but just even the picture, like the fire, throwing a microphone.
It's literally
it captures what the transfer portal is so best without it being direct.
Yes, exactly.
It's indirectly perfect. All right. I just wanted to get into a few commitments that happened and then talk about them, obviously. Number one guy we got to talk about, the recent commitment to MSU, the jersey you're going to be wearing coming January 2nd. Aiden Childs. Man, am I excited. But man, my biggest thing is who's going to follow with him and what is the expectation, because his trajectory, what I've heard, and this is not my personal opinion, is he's a guy that can raise a team's ceiling, but he's not a generational talent. I don't think I don't want to say he's going to be a generational talent, because that is a big, how do I put it?
And Michigan State just hasn't had that at quarterback.
But what I'll say is that the great Michigan State quarterbacks like Connor Cook, Kirk Cousins, like guys that can lead this team to big success, that's what this kid is very capable of.
Yes, and with the right pieces around him, and you would argue he's already got kind of that in place. Like, it's not going to take, with a guy like this who's different style of quarterback that Connor Cook and Kirk Cousins was. This is going to be more of a dual threat guy, right?
I think I've been preaching this for years. A guy that we used to have on this podcast, Logan Berner, I know he listens. So, hey, if you do want to join the show, you're more than always welcome.
For sure.
No. What I said is and I said this joking, Michigan State needs a dual threat quarterback. This, that. I'm not going to say the exact words that I said because I was 14 years old. But if you know, they need a dual threat quarterback. They need someone with some athleticism that's going to be able to take it on the ground, because when you're a team, and this is a perfect example, Max Duggan, when you're a team that doesn't have the craziest high ceiling because you get all these blue chip guys and your player development's crazy, you need a quarterback that can kind of do it all, whether it's through the air and on the ground. And I think Aiden Childs, that's something that he really possesses. I think it's something that the Michigan State offense has been missing. Could you imagine an Aiden Childs type quarterback next to Kenneth Walker? That, another element of the run game right there,
exactly,
along with the receiving core that they had in Jaden Reed and
Keon Coleman.
No, it wasn't even Keon. It was Jalen Naylor and Trey Mosley.
True. Exactly. No, great receiving core too.
Yeah.
So I think you are hitting the head on the nail perfectly, because that's the brand of football that is winning in both the professional world and in college football. I mean, JJ, the ability for him to expand the play right outside of the pocket. And
right. That's the difference between him and Cade McNamara.
Exactly. Jalen Milroe. I mean, that kid he has lifted Alabama's offense just off his ability to run. Jaden Daniels. I mean, they're not winning because of how terrible the defense is, but that kid won a Heisman because the guy is the leading rusher and the leading passer. I mean, dude, if you're running for over 1,000 yards, Aiden Childs, maybe not to that level, but
I mean, you don't know that
can
though.
be. Exactly. That's the thing we don't know. And I think that's
And
what's so exciting for Spartan fans is, I mean, I'm excited to watch it because I've been saying this. I'm a preacher of this. I hate when Michigan State sucks because the Michigan State rivalry is more fun when both teams are good. The year that they were both undefeated and K9 went crazy, that is so much more fun than watching 49-0. I will always say that. I don't want Ohio State to tank because I want the game to be close and entertaining and every single year, right? So I hope that this kid is as good as he is. And with him, and for all of you Spartan fans who I know are so excited about this kid as well, basically mini Megatron out of River Rouge, Mr. Nick Marsh, those two could be an absolute lethal combo that we have not gotten to see in East Lansing in quite some time.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of guys transferring out of Michigan State in the receiving room. Jaron Glover,
Malik Carr, Tyrell Henry. Yep. Henry just committed another Big Ten school. He committed to
which
Wisconsin.
I'll get in that in a little bit, but like I think it's a great get for Wisconsin and Tyler Van.
Absolutely. And he's going back and he's playing with his best friend from Roseville, Amari Snowden, who is he's a freshman right now. He'll be a sophomore next year, cornerback. But yeah, it's good for him. But like you said, Michigan State is losing a lot, but the commitment of Aiden Childs, not only adding what they need to that offense, which is a dual threat quarterback, but he is such a big name and such a name that people are going to follow. And that is what we are now dying to see as analysts and just fans is who comes now. Does this bring offensive line talent? Does this bring defensive talent? Does this bring more skill positions? We will see, but I have to believe Aiden Childs is going to attract a lot of talent to East Lansing, whether it be in the transfer portal or high school recruits.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think also with a lot of these guys transferring out, I mean, look at Michigan State. They're 5-7, 4-8 last year. Like I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's more of a clean house operation. Like, hey, or Smith is pitching like, hey, we're planning on getting a ton of guys here, and we don't know what your future looks like on the field. And
right.
As much as Michigan State education might mean a lot or a little bit to these guys, that and education doesn't really matter. It's more about money, which Michigan State has one of the better NIL operations in college football. And that's kind of the point with Louisville. Louisville got their stuff with the NIL. Like, I mean, it's a relatively big city with, a relatively good, college market. Like they're a team that, they won the national championship in men's basketball, 10 years ago. And I know Kenny Payne sucks and Barstool Cards goes crazy about, just the Kenny Payne era and the effect. And I've seen stuff from Jeff Goodman, and this is just college basketball stuff, on how he needs to have his own documentary for what he's doing with this team. But no, regardless, like NIL operation matters. They're going to obviously, they're trying to attract a bunch of kids. I know a 4-star from Duke just decommitted, and he has a lot of high praise to go to Michigan State. They also got the Nebraska quarterback or the Nebraska quarterback commit in this class as well to go on an official visit, I think, this weekend. So like a lot of this stuff, like they're just trying a bunch of stuff. They're attracting attention, which is really good. This is it's not to the level of Deion Sanders, and he's actually doing a very good job in the portal. But when you can get attention at your school and get names and get as much, it's also kind of just like seeing the field of how much possibilities. If you can get it's kind of just when you look at stuff statistically, if you can get a big sample size of what you want or what you're looking for, that's good. That's kind of how
absolutely. And the thing that excites me about this whole thing is that I think what happened with Mel Tucker, not about how his departure and all that, but it was so unrealistic as to the fact that they brought in such a generational college football talent in K9, and in 2 years they were essentially one bad loss away from going to the college football playoff, right? Or at least going to the conference championship, which they hadn't done since 2015. This is a great opportunity. All Michigan State fans, take a step back and understand what happened in that situation. It's not going to happen again. Like that, this is not going to get flipped just like that. They're not going to go back and be 11-2 or whatever it may be, or not even 11-1, 10-2. Like, this is going to take some time. But at the same time, I do believe with every piece that's in place and the guys that are already falling towards Michigan State and staying loyal and all that, you are going to see progression every single year. You're not going to see, a peak, and then this is not going to be the same
I feel like
situation.
if Mel Tucker, if that situation doesn't happen on a phone call, I think Michigan State would just kind of been like an up and down type of team. Like there's just no consistent build with it. There was no like steady trajectory. It was kind of just like, up, down, down,
Right.
up.
And Mel Tucker was a personality that was so liked in college football, yet I think what got overshadowed so much is his lack of ability to actually coach and football IQ. Jonathan Smith is a football nerd. This guy knows the game super well. The guys he has around him know the game super well, from the offensive coordinator to the defensive coordinator to the offensive line coach. These guys are obsessed with the game of football and advancing and putting out their knowledge and being able to teach it and implement a culture. They did that at Oregon State. That's not the easiest place to do it because it's not a big name program in terms of that sport. So the fact that he now has all of the resources around him, guys that are already bought in, you might see some more Oregon State guys come over that can help implement that culture.
I wish we could get one of those running backs. I love Nathan Carter, but
yeah, exactly. But once again, this thing is going to go upwards every single year. You might see the same record that you saw last year in 5-7. Maybe. I don't think so. I think 6-6 is the floor right now for the next year. But every single year, you're going to see these incremental increases. And then this thing's just going to explode at one point because so many people are going to be like, okay, high school recruits, whatever it may be, they're going to see it and they're going to land a big class. And then all of a sudden, everything's going to start happening.
I think the problem with Mel Tucker was, yes, you said the coaching thing, but more in terms of player development, I don't think was necessarily something that he did well. If you look at the only successful season Mel Tucker had, it was because of guys that he got out of the portal, not the guys that he developed. When it came more to the guys that were his guys and trying to develop and that everything in that sort of nature, like he really didn't do like a good job. Like I'll be completely honest. And also him coming from a defensive background, playing defensive back at Wisconsin, being a DB's coach everywhere. And then, having statistically one of the worst pass defenses over multiple years. Like I could ramble on about Michigan State, and we're not going to spend a whole hour on Michigan State. Why they're going to be,
but they deserve this because this program is trending in the right direction. In my opinion, they're having the best offseason.
Yeah, and I mean it's only going to continue to grow and grow, and obviously other teams are also going to have great off seasons. Like I think another good Big Ten team that's having a good off season is Indiana, man. Like getting the James Madison head coach, who I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but
we forgot him last episode.
Yeah,
it's okay.
But anyways, him and then also getting a guy like Curtis Warwick, who's pretty proven in the MAC, was a very good quarterback in my opinion, and a guy that does have a little bit of a pro potential. Like he's legit. Like before he got hurt, I hope like this kid, like him and Daquan Finn were literally lighting up the MAC. Like
yeah, and those type of talents can translate because whether you call their ability to light up the MAC all just off of raw potential, coaches that are very skilled at player development love raw talent and they eat that crap up, man. They will take those guys and develop them into superstars. And that is the potential.
And they get the raw talent there. Like Deshaun McCulloch, look at him. He transfers to Oklahoma, gets developed by a pretty good defensive coach, and dude, he looks like a stud there on the Oklahoma defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Curtis Rourke has more than just raw potential. I think he's pretty darn polished. I think
he's pretty seasoned. Yeah,
and we're gonna see that. Indiana is a fun story to follow because back when Michael Penix came in and kind of did what he did as a freshman, everyone's like, holy cow, is Indiana here? Or not as a freshman, but just in his first season in college football where he played. Like Indiana was a team that everybody was keeping their eye on. They're getting kind of big name looks from like high level recruits. And then obviously, his injuries did not let him stay there. And he finally progressed into a star at Washington. But like these teams that are not so big in the Big Ten All it takes is little stuff like this, a new coach that, can be a rising star, get a couple recruits that, they're not going to land the big ones, but guys that are polished, that are seasoned, that have played a lot of college football. And all of a sudden you have this thing turning around and they have a big season that then lands them a nicer recruiting class. And I think any of these teams, the Indianas, the Rutgers, the Marylands,
yeah.
they can turn this thing around and be competitive. It's hard in this landscape, though, with NIL to take those teams and then compete at a national title level, get into the playoff. But hey, I don't know, because we don't know what this world is going to be like with the 12-team playoff. We don't know who we're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any data points set on this either.
No, we don't know what this thing's going to be like. And this whole new landscape of new conferences and everything, like, who knows? Who knows what happens? But I think with the expansion and with transfer portal and everything that's going on, college football is going to get more evened out, which is so good to see. I think that is the best part about all of this. And this transfer portal class, before they go into the expansion season, we are going to see, they are going to be the evidence that college football is getting leveled out.
Yeah. All right, let's just get, because we've already talked about two QBs, Aiden Childs and Curtis Wark. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some QBs that are also not, well, I mean, in the portal, obviously, or committed, either or. The one I found interesting and the one that's kind of generating a lot of buzz, and I think who we should start off with, is Malik Murphy. Malik Murphy enters the portal, and he's not playing with the team in the college football playoff, and
which is not his fault. This is just the fault of the college football calendar. I think he feels really bad about having to walk away from this, especially because, Quinn's not a guy who's guaranteed to stay healthy. And it would really, probably he would feel a lot of weight if he, had to be put in, or if the situation presented where Quinn goes down and he would have had to get put in, but a more inexperienced Arch Manning has to get put in. But either way, some
people would love that, though. Like, don't let it.
Oh yeah, so many people would. The media would love it. A Manning playing in the playoff. Oh my gosh, like we got what we wanted. It's
dude. Whatever. ESPN would get a lot of clicks. That's
my gosh.
I bet they're hoping for that.
Everyone is. I whatever. You got a cool last name. Whatever.
I think Arch is raw.
Arch is raw, and he's gonna. We'll see what happens, because we don't even know about the development of Texas quarterbacks, to be honest with you, because Quinn Ewers has always been a generational talent ever since he came out of high school. And people don't know, and this is the last thing I'll say before I give my opinion on Malik Murphy and his recruitment. Quinn Ewers literally graduated high school as a junior. He barely played high school football, let alone he sat out a year in college, and then he had to get thrown in and thrusted into a program as the highest recruit as a quarterback ever. And then he gets put into Texas, which is still rebuilding, and he has the year he has, and everyone thought, oh, this kid's a bust. And now they're seeing that he's a real talent. Like, we will see how they develop quarterbacks, but you have to understand Quinn Ewers has always been super good at football. He's always been super good. But, okay, Malik Murphy. Interestingly enough, I am seeing him get talked and thrown around name programs that listen, Malik Murphy reminds me a lot. He's got a big arm, but this is a guy who's not the most dual threat. As most people think that he's a dual threat guy, he's actually reminds me in that essence of CJ Stroud. He's kind of afraid to run. He's a little timid, and he's even timid with the football in his hands. He's not letting everything rip like he should. But he's getting thrown around. His name is getting thrown around programs that are kind of lower level. I mean, I'm trying to find the graphic.
I think a big thing for him, though, is he does not want to have to compete, and he wants to play.
Yes, because obviously
the schools, I saw him get thrown around: Duke, Baylor, and Oregon State as like the main three right now. And I will say, I think Duke's actually the one that's, seems to be the leading interest for him in his interest, which is kind of interesting. He would play, but I think Baylor would honestly be the best option. Blake Shapen transferring out, Dave Aranda, it's kind of a win-win situation. Malik Murphy gets to showcase his talent, which Baylor's like a relatively solid football program. Like, they're not anything crazy, but they're a team that can get to a New Year's Six bowl game. And I think Dave Aranda, I think he's a relatively good head coach, but with the season that he's just had, like, that's something that, I need help, but it's also a great job if you lead this team to a lot of success. Like, dude, you're gonna get like people pay attention to Baylor. People pay attention to the Big 12, despite whether you like it or not. He's gonna be a guy that if he performs well there, he's could most likely get drafted. I think even though he looked very raw in the games that he did play in for Texas, I think
It's a
you
tough
look at.
situation, man.
I mean,
It's hard to judge that.
right, yeah, and I mean, in game, and that's what he needs. He needs in-game reps, whether it's at a small Division I school or if it's literally Alabama or Georgia. And
Yeah.
it might not be a bad get for Georgia if Carson Beck goes to the draft. But
No, it's not. And I think Georgia's a more likely, in my opinion, if he's going to go big, I think Georgia is a very good fit for him.
I think
But
honestly, they're waiting to see the decision on Beck.
yes, for sure. The name that I see get thrown around by people, by accounts that I know don't know college football the same way is Ohio State. And I am just sitting here baffled by that because I'm
I
like,
think Ohio State, it was either get Cam Ward or stick with what we got.
yeah, it's either Cam Ward or let's see who wins out the Devin Brown Lincoln Keenholz battle. And that is what they need. Malik Murphy is too big of a risk. He has no experience in game, and it's essentially he's a slightly more athletic version of Kyle McCord. And he's got a big arm. He does have a big arm, but once again, he's timid. He's very timid with the football. And he's a guy that would need he's a kind of a project in that system. I do not think he fits. And I don't think with the pressure of after what McCord did and losing all that they did, like, I don't know. I just don't like that I don't like that play.
I'm trying to think of a quarterback. That looks like why. Like I'm just looking at the ceiling. I'm like trying to find the best comparison for him.
I can't. I think the lack of, he's a combination of a couple of guys because he's got the big arm and he's got
like
the athleticism, but
he's got
Joe does come out to me, but I'm like, I feel like I'm
but
doing
he's
Malik
not
Murphy
Joe
a
Milton,
disservice by saying that because he's not. And Joe Milton kind of is.
You know what's actually a pretty good comparison?
What?
A pocket passing Cam Newton. I think that's the best.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. And I think that speaks to the potential because I'm not going to sit here. I'm not really dogging on him, but I've kind of dogged on him.
What I will say is watch the Texas spring game film of Malik Murphy. That is what he could look like.
Exactly. This kid has the utmost potential to be a superstar. That is exactly what I'm trying to say.
I know Tyler Shuck committed to Louisville, but hear me out.
Does he want the competition? That's what we don't know about Malik.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I mean, I don't think because he had the opportunity to enter in the spring window, and they knew they were going to rock with Quinn Ewers, going into the season. So I don't know why he
I truly think Malik Murphy had the idea that they kind of would have maybe rolled with two, and maybe he thought Ewers also because Ewers wasn't some great quarterback that year. So maybe he just had the anticipation that his opportunity would come. I don't know. Maybe it's development. Maybe he really is that selfless.
No. Quinn Ewers is a guy that you don't just give up on. He was playing with the hurt shoulder. Like, look at Baker Mayfield playing with the hurt shoulder.
Look at Cam Newton playing with the hurt shoulder. Ruined his career.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like when it's something that affects your throwing mechanics, throughout the whole season. Like, yes, that's, that does happen when you're physically able not to throw the ball at the best of your ability. Yeah, you're probably not going to look as good as, the competition that's presented in front of you, but it's not high school. Like, it's not as easy just to play hurt. Like,
I do think Malik Murphy is a very selfless individual, a very team first guy. And I think that probably is going to be mainly the reason why he stayed is because he felt that, he's going to start what he finished. And it's also, we're kind of seeing that through, what his reaction was to him having to enter the portal. And I think that's just another reason why you got to go out and get this kid and you got to take a chance on him and kind of throw everything at him and say, hey, like, we want you. I understand if competition, maybe not what your thing is, but I don't know, dude. I think this kid, though, is going to go somewhere and be smart and just say, hey, I'm going to go somewhere like Duke, and I'm just going to play. Like, I know I'm going to play, and I'm just going to figure this thing out as I go week to week.
I don't expect him to enter the draft next year. Like, he's a guy he's
a 4-year guy.
Yeah, like, maybe even because he's a red shirt, right? So yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, he's
So
redshirt in
so
college
let's
football
say
before
so
Mike.
he's got 3 year. I think he's got 3 years of eligibility left. He develops for 2 years. He either stays at the school for one more, or he's a guy that maybe goes and be's a 1 year rental somewhere for a competing team. Like I think Malik Murphy does have an NFL ceiling. Where in the NFL, I don't know. He's too raw to really, give a good indication on where he could be. But he is a guy that is capable of being a talented quarterback, going to the NFL. And with that being said, I think Baylor's a good fit. I don't get the Oregon State stuff, to be honest with you, but that's just because I don't think Oregon State's, even in the right place to have a guy like Malik Murphy. I think they need to do a little bit. It just wouldn't make sense for him, to be honest. And I don't know about Duke either because Manny Diaz is a defensive minded coach. And what is a defensive minded coach going to really do? I don't know really the insistent staff on who Duke got after Mike Elko's departure. So maybe.
Yeah, it's an interesting recruitment. That's all I got to say. That's what I wanted to point out too. It's just like there's teams that are getting thrown into his name that just there's teams that are getting associated with his name that just didn't really make sense to me.
Maybe these colleges just don't want to have a project. Like they don't want to play this kid.
Right? No, a lot of teams are getting impatient.
Have it go south. Like that's also a big thing. Like there is more of a risk factor with Malik Murphy
because he wants to play.
Yeah,
I think Dante Moore is different. Dante Moore's a project, but Dante Moore is somebody I think that is willing to accept the fact that he does need to develop. So that's why a place like Michigan makes sense because if JJ returns, not even if JJ returns, but there's just he knows player development is something that is, dude, they're the best in the country at it. And them and Georgia are just ridiculous at it. So he knows he's going to get developed into something very, very good.
Dante, I don't know if he expected to play at UCLA or not. Like I didn't. He got
Dante Moore, I followed this kid all the way throughout his high school career. Dante Moore's sole intention of where he was going to play college football at was I'm going to play as a freshman. He had the utmost confidence that he was good enough to play as a freshman. It's why he didn't go to Michigan because Michigan had McCarthy and all that stuff happened. It's why he didn't go to Oregon because Bo Nix was coming back. This kid had confidence through the roof. I think that's a little bit damaged now, and I think he's kind of had a more humbling experience because he walks into that place and he didn't look like a superstar. But how can you blame the kid? He was getting sacked at a level that I've never seen before because his offensive line sucked and he was throwing picks like I've never seen him. But once again, I don't think he was himself, and I think he was in a situation that he was not fully comfortable with.
Yeah,
we will see. I think I love his potential as well as Malik Murphy.
That's if he goes to Michigan.
No, yeah, and Michigan's not a guarantee either. Like I said, I think Michigan because of the development. He's close to home, but once again, Dylan Gabriel being at Oregon, I still don't think that throws out the possibility of Oregon because, like I said, Dante wants to get developed. Dante wants to learn, and I don't think he knew he wasn't going to learn from Gabbers. So therefore, if he can learn under a guy like Dylan Gabriel, who's had a ton of college experience and is going to perform well in that system, that's the best thing for him. And he was already committed there, so he's got relationships with those coaches. Yeah. So who knows? The last quarterback we got to touch on is the big dog, the most experienced guy in this entire portal in terms of the quarterback position, and that is Cam Ward.
Yeah. And there's a couple more guys I do want to hit on.
Yeah, but this is a guy we need to.
So I think Cam Ward, and honestly, if I were him, I would take the Florida State. And I go to Florida State. But the problem is there's also guys like Will Howard and DJ Uiagalelei where they're not saying that I think Cam Ward is the most talented, but you're not trying to establish a relationship with another recruit as well. And then it's a big domino effect. It's kind of who's going to bite, who's going to grab the first slice. Like that's really what it is between, these three quarterbacks. And I don't want Cam Ward going to Miami. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Mario Cristobal. And
I don't want to see this kid die. Like, I just don't want to see his career die. This kid
I'd rather have him go into the NFL draft than go to Miami. Like that.
Yeah. And I just hope the kid has got the right people around him and telling him like, hey, if DJ commits to Florida State or if Will Howard commits to Florida State, dude, just declare. Like you will get developed in the
I don't even
NFL.
think it's that. I think it's I don't understand why it's just down to these two schools. I think you could probably get a better opportunity somewhere else, but
Ohio State does not have the NIL money. I've
well, no,
I've read that
I'm not
everywhere.
even talking about Ohio State. I'm just saying in general.
But then
Like,
where else does he go? He's not going to go to Michigan because their offense does not fit him. They're a quarterback needy team. He doesn't go to those other schools like Duke, Baylor. Like he's too good for that
my
stuff.
thing is that
Like, does he go to A&M?
I wouldn't even say because I think Wegman's actually a really good quarterback, and he got hurt like that.
Yeah,
That's really.
but I mean, Elko obviously has his style, and Riley Leonard fits the same. I mean,
I
in terms
thought
of dual
I
threat,
thought USC would have been a good fit for him, to be honest.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think so too. I really do.
I think the
And
team that also could go for him, and they probably wouldn't because Nico's a great. He's got the potential to be something really special. But like Tennessee, like the problem with a lot of these kids is they do not need to be rushed into being played. Like
no, dude, it's my biggest advice, especially being a college athlete myself. You dude, in the college level, whatever level you're playing at, it is so different. I don't care if you played at modern day. When you hit that level, the game is so much faster. Those kids are so much bigger, and it is truly different. For these freshmen to do what some of them have done is truly remarkable, and that is why they are excelling at the NFL level. It is why they are because they are true definitions of generational talent. Most 5 stars, truthfully, are not ready to even play as freshmen. And that's not a knock on who they are as a player. It's just, dude, these guys are so much better. The development of players and just the development of strength and conditioning in college football in general is just it's at a rate that we've never seen it. So yes, for Nico to get 2 years to sit and learn under somebody like Cam, learn under somebody like I'm sure Joe has been around college football enough. I'm sure he's learned a lot from him. It's great. It's good for Tennessee, and that's why I love that take that you had, because in my opinion, Tennessee not only keeps their brand up and wins with Cam Ward, but they also continue to develop their hopeful superstar that eventually takes them to what we would hope to be. I'm sure every Tennessee fan is a
yeah,
college football playoff.
I thought also Wisconsin before Tyler Van Dyke would have been a good like
Mm.
Bill Longo. He is a very innovative and creative offensive coordinator. You see what I did there. Anyways, no, but being completely honest, like that's why Tyler Van Dyke goes there because that kid, he gets thrown around as oh he's not that good. Dude, the kid's good. Like when you've seen him play at his peak, like the kid is undoubtedly like there's a reason why he was the ACC Rookie of the Year in 2021. He had his he had his best year in his first year because he wasn't under, a crappy offensive staff. Despite the talent that he had to throw to this year, and there's points that he did look good, but going to Wisconsin, being able to develop, having the Wisconsin guys, be able to build chemistry. And if Wisconsin has a young guy that they like, Tyler Van Dyke's got plenty of experience and plenty of advice to offer the kid, the ups and downs. So, and as much as Tyler Van Dyke says that football does not affect, his emotional state or his happiness, like I think you would be a little bit more happy if you were going to be, making millions in the NFL. And I think he legitimately can be a first round pick if he develops accordingly.
Yes, his name has been thrown around as a first round pick since he's emerged into college football. So, and those guys that are saying those things aren't just talking out of their what. Those guys are professionals. They
Except
do this
when
all
they
the
say
time.
Bo Nix is going to be a first round pick. I'm sorry, I don't see it, but
that one's so hard. It's so hard because it's a risk. It's a risk, but like I always tell people, and draft scouts continuously say it. The second these guys get to the combine, everything goes out the window. Everything does, and when they test, and Bo Nix is a guy that's going to test well, and then that's what's going to ultimately fly him up the board.
I will say this is a very, and this is going to probably be better to bring up during draft season, but I just want to bring it up now because I got into a heated debate with someone about this. Would you rather take, if you were the NFL GM of the Detroit Lions and you had to take a quarterback, let's put this very theoretical, would you take Spencer Rattler or Bo Nix?
Oh, Spencer Rattler.
Okay, there we go. That answer.
I'm so high on that kid, and I think he's matured, and he has. Ladies and gentlemen, there is very few individuals who spin the football as pretty as Spencer Rattler does, and has the instinct that Spencer Rattler does.
My thing is, because the guy that I was arguing with is not knowledgeable on college football. He's more of an NFL guy, which is
this who I think it is?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's someone you don't know. But okay. I'm just saying, no, I did not get any working with Justin. But like people that just see highlights and don't really watch like games or really go in depth on these players and their background and everything. Spencer Rattler, like if he really wanted to and wanted to be the cocky son of a bitch that he was
exactly.
Yeah, then yes, I would get that. But yes, he develops that reputation to the casual fan base, like, oh, this guy's nothing. You got benched for a generational quarterback. Like
he got benched for a generational quarterback. He went on to a high school quarterback reality TV show on Netflix, and he couldn't even finish the season because he got in trouble. And even there, he was dogging his backup quarterback, who was actually a super, super high recruit in college football. But anyways, he even got that reputation there. And like the kid, dude, when you're as good and highly recruited as he was, man, you just put yourself as an 18-year-old. If you are much older than we are,
he won with South Carolina. He beat Clemson and Tennessee. Yes, was this year bad? Yeah, it was for South Carolina. But for Spencer Rattler, like he had the development in his maturity. And we need to stop talking about Spencer Rattler because this is gonna be like a 2-hour.
The last thing I'm going to say is this: the kid threw for 3,000 yards, over 3,000, and had 19 touchdowns. I'm not listening to the interceptions. I'm not listening to QBR, the worst offensive line, and he had no weapons, and he still put up those numbers. So that is the end of that. Is how I will finish it. Shut up. The kid's ridiculous.
With the worst. Okay, they had like the second lowest yards per carry in Power 5, and also had the worst getting first downs through the run in
offensive efficiency. Yeah,
in FBS, like
he was the whole team. He was the whole team.
You had no help. No help. His receivers, Antoine Wells gets hurt for majority of the year, and Xavier Legette goes down like halfway through. Like
for sure. But yeah, back onto the conversation of just
transfer portal QB.
And I think transfer portal QBs is, I think, what we should continue to stay on. And maybe we break it up so this episode isn't 2 hours long. Maybe we just
that's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. It is 10 o'clock at night, but okay. All right.
Yeah, no, it's not. You're seeing things.
Okay. Yeah. But even then, I'm just throwing the idea out there. Maybe we just, go positional breakdowns so that we can give the best analysis, because I think a couple other guys that we really need to talk about. I think we need to talk about, we've talked about Will Howard, but Riley Leonard and what he can bring to the Notre Dame offense.
What Leonard is going to bring to Notre Dame is something that I don't think they're used to. Ian Book kind of had the same style a little bit.
Yes,
but I think Riley Leonard, with him having the experience he has at Duke, I think something that Notre Dame quarterbacks have missed is the big play ability, the Heisman ability, which he's capable of winning the Heisman. If everything falls according to plan, like what it kind of does for you to win a Heisman. I don't know what Notre Dame's ceiling is necessarily, and I also think if this is a miss for Marcus Freeman, he needs to hit the exit door, and
which is so sad to say, man, because Notre Dame has just been. After losing Brian Kelly, it's kind of you thought maybe this thing would turn into a revolving door for head coaches for a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Marcus Freeman is a bad coach. I'm just saying in the circumstances of Notre Dame, maybe it's not somewhere. It might just not be a good fit for him. And I think, there's somewhere better for him to go. But with that being said, I do think that Riley Leonard to Notre Dame is going to be attractable to quarterbacks of the future classes. if there's something that he can showcase that, hey, playing in this Notre Dame offense, you're going to get drafted. You're going to have moments. You're going to be playing for big time games, which Notre Dame, the ceiling is kind of limitless there, in my opinion, other than the academic requirements. That's the only thing that kind of holds them back. But you want kids that are academically, gifted or, work hard in the classroom because, it's kind of a translation to hopefully what happens on the field. But like they're a team that gets good commits. They're a team that does extremely well in the transfer portal, and I know a lot of receivers from there have entered the portal, but I think they keep a couple young guys, and they also get some guys through the portal as well. And this thing's going to translate just fine as long as. My only thing and my only problem is if Riley Leonard, if the spotlight gets to him and he starts playing a little bit more selfish ball and start in my thing of, all the media attention he's going to get, all the, instead of, taking the check down, he's going to try making the big play, scrambling outside. Like that's kind of how I think where this could go wrong. And I'm not saying Riley Leonard's going to do that because from what I heard, he's a very good kid. Other than not turning his assignment in on time, but everyone does that. But you always got to reference some random funny
Absolutely.
thing that just adds to the college football landscape personality. But I really do like this kid. I think he is a limitless guy. Like there's so much you can do with this kid, kind of comparable to Aiden Childs, but there's more stuff on this guy in games. And we saw like he can be the best player on a football team and have success. Like if you're able to do that at Duke and lead him to a bunch of wins before you get injured, like that is noticeable. It drags some eyes, man. And I really wish, honestly, he would have opened up his recruitment a little bit more in the transfer portal than just deciding on Notre Dame. I'm not faulting him for that because Notre Dame's a very good program, but there might have been some better fits too. Like you don't know, but congrats to him. I think he's gonna have a great career at Notre Dame. I do like the fit. I think it's an intriguing fit, and I think stylistically, like Notre Dame 12 team next year, we might
Could
see.
be. Could be. I think the only thing I'll add, because that was pretty spot on to what I think about this, is he's going to expand this offense in a way that Notre Dame hasn't gotten to see, which I'm excited for because this is a kid that's he's great for college football. He's a great personality, great kid, but he's just electric too. I mean, he's a big guy. He's 6'4", 212 pounds. I mean, this is a body that can play in the NFL. It can play at a high level, and I don't know. I'm super excited for Notre Dame in that aspect. But I don't have much else on that. The guy I do really want to talk about is Brock Vandagriff. This is a guy.
Yeah, okay. I did want to get into this because I don't know what to really think of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Brock is a guy who was a 4-star out of high school, and he played in Georgia. And here's my breakdown, and this has always been my opinion on Brock. Brock has got he's got a ball that it comes out hot, man. It is a fastball, and he's super, super fast. Like he runs super well for a quarterback. He's got a bigger body, but his problem is he's got a windmill. He's got an absolute windmill release. And if you don't know what a windmill release is, it takes him a long time to essentially get he cocks his arm way back, and it's such an odd motion that takes a lot of time that you don't have. You have that at high school and you will dominate, but you don't have that time in college. And I think this is why this kid is, he kind of just ran from Georgia, not because of the success of Carson Beck, but this is why he did not beat out Carson Beck.
Before I just wanted to interrupt. Is KJ Jefferson still in the portal? Because I can't.
No.
He's not?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
I think he went back to actually, hold on.
Because either 24/7 is doing I'll look at on 3 real quick. Continue what you were saying.
But anyways, what I'm saying is this kid has got a big release, a windmill release that I do not think is going to bode him well in college football. However, that is from the eye perspective, and I didn't get to see, what that QB battle was like between him and Carson Beck. And obviously, Georgia made the right decision. but I think that does have a factor into why, you don't want to take that risk. However, at Kentucky, this kid is going to get the chance to put it out on the field. He is going to be the starter for Kentucky. And I would hope so. I mean, I don't think he goes there if he's not. He's going to go there and he's going to be the guy for the Wildcats, and he's going to get to play in the SEC and compete in the SEC. And who knows? I am just not extremely high on this kid. I think he's got a great ball and he's athletic, but I just think there's going to be too much issues unless somebody can fix that mechanics, which at this point in college, he's a junior, I believe. And it's kind of hard to fix a throwing motion at this time, especially, getting timing back and everything. But there's a ceiling, and I don't want to say it's super high, but I'm not all that about Brock Vandagriff the way some people I feel are. And that is just because I don't know if they've not watched film on him or not. But if you watch his film, it's fun to watch. Ball comes out hot. He makes pretty good passes, but you will notice very quickly that the release is huge. It's a windmill release, and that is just not going to play well in college football.
I think you want to hear my honest opinion. I think that this is kind of just a desperate play from Kentucky and also a testament to their quarterback depth that they develop on their roster. And it doesn't proceed to be well. Like, they don't have a kid that's going to be able to look at Will Levis last year. Like, they don't have a kid that can step up in there and, be successful. Devin Leary did not look good. And Devin Leary is a kid that was considered to be drafted and be a star of college football when he was at NC State. Like, I think this is a desperation play from Kentucky, and they're really hoping that they can hit on this kid. And I don't see it. Like, I don't think there's a reason why Vandagriff didn't play over Stetson Bennett and didn't play over Carson Beck. Wow, both those kids are getting drafted, and you're gonna have a new opportunity and be like, yeah, I could be drafted with those guys. Yeah, sure, maybe. There's not really, a set bar on him yet because, his play on the field has been very limited due to the fact that he's been behind, and maybe it's great for his development. And that's something that also says that, like, I will say Carson Beck is good, but Stetson Bennett, like, if you were that good, you wouldn't be sitting behind him, in my opinion. Like, you were in that offense for a couple of years. It's whatever. I don't know if I actually like the fit at Kentucky, to be honest. I like that they get Jamari Macklin, and I think that kid's very good. And I kind of agree with the idea on Robby that, we're going to do this position by position breakdown episodes, which is just great because you get more videos to watch of us. And
right. This is more content, and we get to break these guys down like the way that we just did with Vandagriff. Because I fully agree, man. I don't think this is a good fit for either. And, unless Vandagriff can just show that he's a dude.
Unless he's a dude that can just play anywhere, like one of those guys. I just don't think it really works out. Like,
I don't either, man.
Don't hate on the kid. I think he could work at some places. I just don't think Kentucky's one of those places.
Yeah, and
there's got to be, in my opinion, and what it could be is it could be an NIL thing, or it's pretty much guaranteed he's going to be able to start unless he gets hurt.
It's a guaranteed start, but and NIL, it's a combo of both. But my comparison, guys, is Will Levis. This is Will Levis.
Yeah, that's perfect. Wow.
This kid is Will Levis. And if you guys saw what he did, at Kentucky, he's a ball of potential, in my opinion. Big arm, athletic, but Kentucky's not going to produce it. Kentucky's not going to get it out of him.
I don't think Will Levis is even that good still. So
I don't think Will Levis is that good. I think he was certainly not good in college. I'm sorry, he was not good in college.
Yeah.
That tape was not good enough to be he deserved to fall, and everyone else saw it. And I don't even think Brock gets that level. But hey, Brock Vandagriff, if you're listening to this podcast, make me eat my words. Go out and ball down in there in Lexington because everybody, college football is better when Kentucky's good.
Using those Twitter fingers, not them trigger fingers. Quote by Drake. All right. A guy that I do want to talk about, and I'm very kind of, it's kind of like not talked about, but he is in former SEC quarterback, Will Rogers. I actually really like this fit. I think it's it's something similar that he played into Mike Leach with this air raid, run and shoot type of offense. Stuff that he was really successful in. And, going to Washington and getting the caliber of guys that they recruit, and they get sneaky guys in the portal as well. I think this is something that really can get him back onto that, like statistically speaking, like on that statistical top of the list, because Washington's going to provide that success for him as long as he does his job, which he's put on tape and he's put in the stat sheet, the box score, the thing that the AP poll loves. I'm sorry. I just every single shot.
We absolutely dog the Associated Press here on the Engagement.
I just hate people that box scores watch in general. Like yes, stats are good and stats are important. Don't get that wrong, but eye test matters more than statistics. Which, I mean, take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, dude, I love this fit so much for Will Rogers.
I
love the kid as a prospect.
I mean, I don't think Will Rogers. This is when the hour mark hits, and pronunciation does not.
Everything falls out the window.
Yeah. After an hour, it's like, you guys talk way too much. Anyways, we're still going to be here for a little bit longer. You don't think that we're going away. We got to provide as much content for you as possible. But I will say, I don't like Will Rogers the most as a player. I will say that he's not my favorite quarterback in college football. I don't think he's, the most talented, but in terms of him and also Washington, if they want to have success, and, I didn't like Penix at Indiana. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I thought, yes, he was good, but I didn't think he was, Heisman caliber, right? And I kind of got proven wrong. And I don't think really anyone anticipated that. And I think it's kind of a thing for Will Rogers. Like, hey, dude, like, you want to throw for 4,000 plus yards and like 30 plus touchdowns and, potentially get on an NFL radar's team or have just a professional career in general and be successful. And, first year in the Big Ten, like he's a very experienced kid. He's thrown the ball a lot in college. So I think that's what you really want. I think he's got the potential to be a leader as well. I don't think you like the hire with Jeff Levy because it doesn't really fit. He's not a guy that likes to use his legs a lot. Like, I think it's a good fit. That's just my analysis of it. It's a good fit, and I think there is a ceiling of Will Rogers is not going to be a Heisman, and if he is, then I will buy.
He's not going to be. He's not.
I will buy a Will Rogers jersey if he's a Heisman. Market here.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, folks.
But no, there's no better way to put it than that. He is a kid that could explode, but I don't think that I don't think Washington is necessary. They're obviously not going to produce at the level they did with Michael Penix and Odunze and all those guys, right? That's just impossible. And you can't put that expectation on him, Washington fans. But
you can't.
Will Rogers is going to No, you can't. But Will Rogers is going to produce at a very not even above average. I'd call it an elite level. I think the elite level production is there. And I wouldn't even say that you could put the caliber of production that Michael Penix had in elite. It was beyond elite. It was something that we'll never see again. This kid is going to keep this team afloat. He's going to keep them competitive. This is perfect as they transition into the Big Ten, which is arguably now the best conference. You SEC or Big Ten. I mean, whatever side you want to float on, I don't really care. But the first or the second best conference in football. This is going to be great. This is great for him. This is great for Washington. This is great for college football because he could emerge. He really, really, really could be big. He's shown flashes of that, right? But I got nothing else other than that. The kid that I want to talk.
Yeah, Daquan Finn. Daquan Finn's the guy I want to get into.
Yes, Daquan and another kid.
Where is Daquan Finn going? That is
it's such a good question. A name that it just sounds weird to even think about because I don't like it, even though I love Daquan as a prospect. But why is Michigan in this? Why are they talking about that? Why is that happening? Like, I don't get it. I think Daquan's a guy that goes to, gosh, where does Daquan Finn go?
All right, this is a good segment right here. Where
Oregon State? Just somewhere that I think he's got big school potential. But once again, Daquan's biggest flaw is his efficiency with the football in terms of passing. He's
You
a
know, where
great
he
running
went to school?
quarterback. What?
Mississippi State.
Okay, he replaces Will Rogers. I like that. I
Like think about it. It's
that's actually a really good fit.
yeah.
Um,
Texas Tech.
yes, does this might be a big shoe to fill, but is Cook gone?
For
Is
Missouri.
Mizzou without a quarterback?
I don't know, and that's actually also really like the Brady Cook and Daquan Finn in terms of play style are very comparable.
Right. But I don't know. I don't know where this kid goes. He's such a it was weird because his name kind of fell off right after he lost the MAC championship, which by the way was not his fault. But Daquan, he's got the size, he's fast as heck. You could arguably say his peak ceiling is Jaden Daniels, but
It's a hard.
can he get developed into that? I don't know, because I don't know if a program that could develop him into that would take the chance on him, because
You know what would be really cool, and maybe it's not the best fit, but Oklahoma State.
that would be interesting. That would
Yeah,
be really interesting, actually, because the dynamic of having him and Ollie Gordon in the same backfield is
that's
just so crazy. I have not heard any buzz on where this kid is getting even looked at, like who's reached out, who he's taking visits on. That's the whole thing about the transfer portal recruiting that is so fun, is like one day this kid's commitment is going to pop and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, what the heck? I did not think of that one. Or it's going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I thought of that. But this is one of the guys that's just flying under, and we're not going to know until it comes out.
maybe TCU.
Maybe. Ooh, TCU is interesting too. I
I
don't
don't know.
know. Does he go south though? Like, is he even
Is he
getting
gonna
that attention? That's what I don't know.
watch him go to Ohio State?
Dude, I've actually heard that.
Yeah,
I've
I've
heard
heard it
that,
too.
and
I don't
I'm
know.
just like, that's got to be the last resort for Ohio
I
State.
actually would have probably liked it for Kentucky, to be honest.
I know I thought about that too, but yeah.
Maybe Indiana. Actually, no, that wouldn't make sense now. Wouldn't be Cincinnati because Sorsby's.
Sorsby's at Cincy. I mean, just Big Ten. He's not going to Wisconsin. Pitt, maybe. Yeah, what? Maybe ACC? Does he Syracuse?
Yeah, I was gonna say Syracuse, like West Virginia, like.
Ooh, West Virginia.
So,
these are there's a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of Big Ten schools that just got a quarterback that kind of is also flown under the radar, unless you're a really diehard college football fan. Max Brosmer.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Me and Robby wanted to get into this kid. We were discussing before the show. I was looking at a little bit of film on a lot of these guys, and I thought we were going to get into more guys. But hey, guess what? It gives me more time to watch a lot more film.
Exactly.
Like I got nothing tomorrow other than watch Robby. Get greater and greater at his chances of wearing that nice Aiden Childs blacked out jersey. That's the specific one I'm picking for you.
Blacked out. I mean, hey, if you're gonna pick one, it might as well be one that's kind of it's got some drip to it. That's what I need. That's what I need. I can't be rocking the green and white. If it's blackout,
maybe no. We'll get you the one with the gruff. Don't worry.
Oh, dude, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Because maybe Michigan's program burns. No, I'm just kidding. If Michigan program burns to the ground, I'm still a fan. I'm still rocking the Black M. Yeah. Never will I ever.
Hey, you could just say you're a Missouri fan though.
Yeah, I could.
Dude, I love Eli Drinkwitz, by the way. Like that guy, he is so funny. Did you hear about? He was on some sort of interview where he was on an in-house visit, and he was on a video call from the kid's garage.
I believe it.
Yeah, like
I believe it.
This guy's
awesome. He's
a Lane Kiffin 2.0, except he actually knows how to coach. Kidding. I love that.
No.
Dude, what is up with the Lane Kiffin stuff at Tennessee? He's like at Tennessee Volunteers, and he's like taking stuff of their trophy stuff. It's so weird.
I don't know, but the last thing just the comment that I need to throw out there about Max Brosmer, this kid's release is effing butter. The ball just like Dude,
Like,
it's like
I'm watching that. I'm like, why is this kid playing at New Hampshire? Like,
how? Like, how
dude,
do you see this out of high school and be like,
the time it takes to get in the receiver's hands is also like on deep balls is something that I really like. Like, he has zip. I don't know how much of a soft touch he has, but
oh, I think he's got the soft touch. I think
it's just something that I didn't personally see. So
he can throw
what
from all arm angles
I
too.
will
I don't
say,
know.
yeah, that's something I really liked. I really liked, he had what I like to call assertive awareness. So it's just something we touched on earlier in the season when, talking about Caleb Williams. Like, he's a kid has that. Like, this kid knows how to move. Like, he's mechanically sound. And it
Mhm.
sucks that he's probably going to Minnesota.
I was just about to say
Yeah,
that.
it sucks that he does go to Minnesota, but maybe it's something that maybe it's that thing that PJ Fleck's missing from having like success at Minnesota. He can get it done, man. Like Western, I think it was 2015 when he was there. They were in a big bowl game against Wisconsin and were ranked in the top 15, man. Like PJ
Corey
Fleck,
Davis, that guy.
yeah.
Which RIP to his career because he just retired this year. But dude, PJ Fleck is maybe that is what he needs. I just don't know how much recruits rally around this kid.
I don't think it's that. I think it's like an in-house thing. Like, this transcends the development with receivers more. It gives receivers more confidence. Because you look at guys like Rashad Bateman, like that kid's from Minnesota. Guess what?
He's a dog.
Yeah,
He's a dog.
pretty sure he has like the best separation rate with the Ravens or something.
I believe that. That
Yeah,
kid is
he's
ridiculous. A guy I wish was able to transfer and go perform at some huge school.
Yeah. I kind of like the Grayson McCall to NC State.
I love that. I love that transfer.
He's a seasoned veteran. Like, it's not like Brennan Armstrong like had one good year at Virginia and then I don't know what happened. But I will say I do like this Grayson McCall transfer. He's been a great quarterback for Coastal Carolina throughout his playing career, and he's just getting an opportunity to play at a bigger level and really showcase, his talent.
Yeah, this is simply just like a guy that we've been talking about playing at a bigger school, and he didn't get the opportunity to because of his grades, but he's getting the opportunity now, and I don't know. I'm just excited. I think it's a great fit. I think he's going to be successful. This isn't going to be something
How I said
special.
that, how I said Blake Shapen, or not Blake Shapen, how I said Daquan Finn would go to Mississippi State. Blake Shapen's committed there.
Well, there you go. That's not happening.
Okay, so is KJ Jefferson in the portal or not? Because Taylon Green from Boise State is committed to Arkansas.
I don't know. Isn't Jefferson draft eligible?
Who the hell is draft? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys declare that probably shouldn't, but they do anyways. I don't really care. KJ Jefferson, dude, you might have thrown an Alabama player and made him look like an absolute rag doll, but you are not good at football. And
I like KJ though.
I don't care.
He's your favorite player's favorite player.
He's my favorite player's favorite player.
Yeah.
Who the heck are you referencing? What?
No, dude, he's big. He's got actually, I don't think he has a good arm. But
no, he doesn't. This kid sucks. Like, I'm done talking about him. Can we just talk about a guy who's actually decent at football, and that's MJ Morris going to Maryland, and how this kid really could develop into another good Maryland quarterback?
Yeah, but does that do anything for their program? Like, I'm sorry, I think Tally is a better talent than people give him credit for. And, I think.
Yeah, but I'm not saying this elevates Maryland to a playoff contending. They're not going to do anything in the Big Ten, but MJ could develop into NFL caliber. I think Talia is.
I think he's
going to the NFL, and Talia is going to be a guy that is going to get a shot. He's going to land into somewhere that, he's what I hoped DTR would have been. But I'm not giving up on DTR either. That's a kid I also just love. But Talia is also more polished than DTR in some ways, and
I will say though, I do like Taylon Green to Arkansas. The kid is a very KJ Jefferson. I'm gonna ramble about this guy just to piss you off a little bit. No, but honestly, he has he has that next gear. Taylor Green does when it comes to the running game.
Yes.
I don't, and if you're Arkansas, like you're not really a throwing offense to begin with. So I think that with that being said, like I think even though you lose Rocket Sanders to South Carolina, which is something that I wanted to touch on.
I don't understand that, but we will touch on that. I
You
do
know,
not understand Rocket
what?
Sanders in South Carolina.
You know what it is?
What is it?
There is 2 assistants from the Arkansas staff at South Carolina, and he had like the offensive coordinator was the one calling plays for Rocket Sanders in his very successful 2022 year, and that's probably a big reason why he's going there.
Well, it's still a stupid idea.
And Sam Pittman's not going to be the coach by November for Arkansas by next year.
Oh, yeah. No, that's 100% true. Also, just random thought. I mean, it's expected. I just don't know why I never saw it reported. Spencer Petras has not only entered the portal, but he's committed to Utah State.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did see that.
That's interesting.
Does
that mean that what's his face is also in the portal? The guy that basically is an NFL lineman. Sorry, not an NFL lineman.
Hill? No. It's Deacon Hill or die there in Iowa City.
No, it's Cade McNamara or die, and nobody understands why.
It's Deacon Hill. A kid that I actually do like that is very raw and, sadly had his reins taken over by the Cal legend, Fernando Mendoza. That kid's actually a Cal legend. You watch and wait.
Oh, he is a Cal legend, 100%.
Sam Jackson the fifth. He played a lot early. I don't know why I've actually watched Cal football this year, probably because they're on late. But like this kid, I kind of like the way that he throws the ball, and I like his athletic ability. He's just one of those guys that like his limit hasn't been hit, and I kind of want to see what that limit is. And I think it's something that like he was a 3-star out of high school. They haven't done their transfer portal ranking yet on him because he literally entered 3 or 4 days ago, and he's also from Cal, so like 24/7 is going to take their time on guys that they don't care to rank. And he's going to be a guy that I think, right place. I don't think it's going to be a big program. It'd probably be group of 5 or small power 5, but he gets the right system fit around him and the right, player development staff. Like this kid could be, a very fun player to watch, not necessarily great, but fun player to watch, have good stats, and, maybe pursue a pro career. Like that's the make or break for a lot of these guys too. And I don't think people realize like that when it comes to college football is it's very cutthroat. If like there's your separation from great to bad is literally just one coach. Where you decide to spend your college career, whether it's through the transfer portal or high school,
or even just your size. Like Jordan McLeod could literally just never amount to anything because he's 6 foot, and we've seen the history of 6 foot quarterbacks in the NFL and how they just don't up.
Speaking of KJ Jefferson, he is big. I don't think Jordan McLeod's really that good, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good college quarterback. I think he's going to make a program happy, not someone amazing, but he's going to make a program.
Where do you think, this is a good question, where do you think DJU goes if Florida State is not the option?
Oregon.
He wouldn't go to Oregon.
I mean, I still think listen, DJU just doesn't. Dude, this kid upsets me so much. I was so high on this kid. I thought, no way, this kid does not succeed. And then Clemson turns out to be not the right.
He did succeed at Oregon State, though. But...
He did. But, okay, so realistically, I thought it was Oregon because I thought he was going to go play with his brother. Obviously, Oregon, had different eyes. Realistically, if it's not Florida State,
does Ohio State give DJU?
I was just about to say that. It was coming out of my mouth as you said that. Yeah, I mean, Ohio State.
Does UCLA give DJU the call?
No, I don't think he answers. I don't think, even though he's from LA. Does USC?
No, I don't know. At that point, though, I think you'd rather roll with Nelson, like, or no.
Okay, but come on, buddy. Malachi over DJU, a guy that is
Is
going to
USC going to be good next year? Like, I'm going to
no,
be so.
no, they're not. Unless
Like, are they
DJ
going to be? Are they going to be a bowl team? Like, that is a legit question to ask. Are they going to be a bowl team next year?
a bowl team, yeah, they're gonna go to a bowl. They're gonna go to a bowl, dude. Come on,
My
they're
hot
gonna
take:
get
they're
they're
not.
gonna get a little bit better at defense, and
Are they?
I mean they're gonna get a new D coordinator.
Actually,
So if the new
well,
D coordinator is worse than
dude,
Alex
but
Grinch, then I'm sorry.
you know
Fire
about the
Lincoln,
guy,
fire the AD.
you know about the guy, the North Dakota State head coach that is now a linebackers coach and assistant defensive coordinator at USC. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that, but
You learn something new every day on the Engage A podcast. Just always gotta say
yeah,
that.
you do. Yesterday was how to pronounce Boise.
Yeah.
Today it's who's the assistant D coordinator at USC. We love it.
A
But
couple
I don't know.
guys.
I don't know where DJU goes. I think DJU should just go to the draft. Just go.
Yeah.
Who cares? Just go to the NFL.
I kind of want to get your take on where these guys kind of fall. Like, what's probably
Yeah, we'll go rapid fire here real quick.
Nate Johnson, where you think is somewhere where what do you think is the school for his fit?
Mac. I think he goes to Mac.
Mac?
Yeah. I think group of 5, definitely.
Yeah,
I don't think this kid is Power 5 at all.
right.
So Mac or I mean, I don't know what James Madison's situation is, but I think that's an interesting place for him to go. Like high level Power 5 or group of 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Next player.
AJ Swan.
Ooh, AJ Swan, the Vanderbilt kid. Gosh, I think this kid's got a little bit more potential. Maybe a school like I'm trying to think. I want to say Northwestern. I weirdly want to say Northwestern.
That's actually good. I can rock.
But I don't know Brendan Sullivan's situation over there and if he's the guy. And I know AJ Swan probably just wants to play. But
Nebraska?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm pondering here is just what they're doing. Because if they don't land Dylan Raiola, all of a sudden McCord's back in the question there. I think Swan is a guy that they have to give a look to. He's got great size, and he did put up pretty good numbers for what he had to work with over there at Vanderbilt.
Of course, I don't know. He had 2 really good receivers.
He did actually have 2. By the end of that thing, I mean, the one transferred to Colorado, and the other one's probably going to Georgia, and he's probably literally a copy paste of Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
So. But we'll see. I think Nebraska's a good. I think I like that actually. If they don't land Dylan.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Ty Thompson. Where do you think he?
This is such a weird one, dude.
Yeah,
because I thought this kid was it. I thought he was Oregon's next guy, and by the fact that they rolled with Dylan and didn't even give this kid a chance, and they really didn't give him a chance, especially with Bo.
Here's the thing, though. I think Oregon just has the mentality of play it safe. Like,
sure. They want to ride this momentum, right?
Like, even look how they play offense. Like, they just want to play it safe. Like,
Ty Thompson goes to Oklahoma State.
Okay.
I think Ty Thompson. I think Ty Thompson is going to get picked up by major school. I think this kid was a 5-star out of college. Ooh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait, Jalen Milroe's coming back. What am I saying? Not Alabama. He's not going to Alabama. Wasn't he committed? No, that's Ty Simpson.
Dude. What?
Okay. Can we talk about Kyle McCord? Because Kyle McCord had apparently everyone was saying Nebraska, and now he's apparently just dissed him. Like, does Kyle McCord go to Syracuse? Like, that's a genuine question.
I think that'd be a good fit. I think
this kid wants no competition. This kid
I think Purdue would be honestly a good place for him to go.
That's also a really good point. Even though they did lose Deion Brooks, which was such a good.
They get kids.
They do.
I mean, even I would say I would be fine with him playing at Louisville before Tyler Shuck went there, and I think even though he's scared of competition, he could beat out Tyler Shuck.
Dude,
Uh,
this kid's so weird, man. I feel like he's just like I feel like he's never gonna
you
produce
should
at
go
the
to,
level he did.
just go to South Carolina.
Yeah, there you
Prove that
go.
he's a
Burned
dope.
to the ground. Yeah, okay.
No. Okay. Next guy. Where do you think Caden Hauser goes? Because I actually am very interested.
Yes.
Because Noah
This is a
Kim,
guy I forget
yeah,
that's in the portal.
yeah. Like, cause I still think he has a higher ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does he
Hayden
go to Tech?
Hauser.
Does he go to Texas Tech?
Yeah, that's exactly the school I was about to say, actually.
Baylor's a guy.
Texas Tech,
'Cause
Baylor.
from the Texas,
He's
yeah.
from California, actually.
Well,
This
yeah,
kid
but
was
he went to high school in Texas too. So
yes, before he went to Bosco, he
is
did go to high school in
Cal a
Texas.
good spot for him? Maybe is.
Cal.
Okay.
UCLA is actually not bad for him.
I would say
He's
San
not-
Diego State, but they just picked up a commitment.
I think Hauser's better than that. I think he knows that he's better than that. I like the Texas schools. I like the TCUs. I like the Texas Tech.
I don't think TCU is a good fit for him personally, but
You
maybe
don't? Is he? I didn't watch much of this kid. Is he dual threat or is he just kind of
I
like
would
your?
say he's better when he stays in the pocket than when he leaves, but
Okay. Okay.
that'd be I don't know. I feel like he has the ability to make some really good throws.
Yeah.
So that's what I really like about him. But
What about? No, he wouldn't go to Boise State. No.
yeah. I'm gonna give you how much more guys do I want to give you? You know what? I'll give you two more because I'm actually very intrigued to see what your opinion is
Let's
on
do
those
it.
guys. Anthony Caliac Manis. Where do you think he should?
Anthony. Yeah.
Anthony
How do you pronounce it?
Anthony Caliac Manis.
Oh man, the Minnesota kid.
Because I like. Am I crazy?
Drew Viato went to Eastern in Athen. I don't know how you pronounce that, but he was behind Viato, right? Or they both didn't play at Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So
No, Caliac Manis played this year. I think he got hurt at points. So
okay, that's actually because I mean I knew the kid's name, but he's kind of small, dude. He's kind of small for being 6'4". This is a guy that reminds me a lot of
the Greek Rifle is his nickname for people that did not know that.
the Greek Rifle. He's a guy that reminds me of that Texas A&M quarterback that plays for the Vikings.
Oh no, Robby, don't lose connection now. Uh-oh.
Oh shoot.
His
Am I
video
actually
is
what? What's going on?
Robby is cutting out.
Am I back?
Moment.
Am I back?
We'll let his thing rebuffer. Actually, I'm gonna try and remove him and add him back. Nope. Okay. Well, as I will continue, I don't know where Cali Aikman is. He back? Are you
back? Am I
Are
back?
you back and alive? Yes. Okay.
All right, let's go.
Perfect.
This is a kid that also could go Big Ten, stay Big Ten, and go to a school like Purdue.
Dude,
I think he just needs to fill out a little bit.
You know, I kind of thought Georgia Tech maybe.
Yes, they're losing Haynes, right? Haynes is gone. This is it for Haynes.
I have no idea if it is actually it for Haynes or not. I maybe Virginia or Wake Forest too. Like somewhere where he's just gonna play and be fine. Like, I mean, in the Big Ten, where is that at? Like maybe he goes to Rutgers. I don't think that's a terrible option.
I don't think Rutgers goes for him.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to think of schools that like.
Yeah, Georgia Tech I like though, but I like the Wake Forest one. I like
Syracuse.
Schools that he's just gonna, like you said, plug and play. This is a kid that you just
and he go to Arizona State maybe like.
No, because Levitt's there.
Is Rashada in the portal? Like, or is he
I actually don't know, but Sam Levitt committed there, so I got to think Rashada's on his way out.
Well, Levitt needs to be developed.
Dude, Leather's got potential though. I think that kid could be really good.
And then last one, because I'm actually very intrigued because I still think he's got a relatively high ceiling, even though it was a dumpster fire at Nebraska. I think Jeff Sims still has a lot of potential.
I think Jeff Sims, this is not the last time we see him. Actually, wait, can you transfer twice? Can you enter this thing twice?
I think he's a cool.
Oh, wait, yeah. What year is Jeff? Jeff Sims is not like this kid's old, right? Am I crazy for that?
What year did he graduate? 2020. So he could be I mean 2024 graduate. Yeah. Like he would graduate in the year of 2024. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And this kid could play 5 years. I think he's got that ability because he graduated in he's 2020, so he's got a COVID year. Okay. Jeff Sims. I think. Does Jeff Sims go back to Georgia Tech? Probably not. I don't know. This is a guy.
I'm looking at his high school offer list.
I know. So I followed Jeff out of high school. Jeff Sims was a large follow and wanted to be at Florida State. Most of his recruitment spent with Florida State, and obviously that did not end up.
Where's Kendall Briles at now? Because this could actually be something. Because I know he's at a different school now. Kendall Briles. He is at TCU. Okay, that could actually. He's the offensive coordinator at TCU. Okay, that actually.
That's an interesting one. I don't know. I don't know if Jeff Sims ruined his name for what happened at Nebraska.
Yeah, but he's still a ball of talent.
Oh, for sure. He's very athletic.
Oh my God, Louisville offered him. Go back there. Rice Plumlee's probably gonna stay, so I wouldn't say UCF. Okay,
yeah, but I think Rice Plumlee is potentially gonna go get drafted at the MLB.
Oh yeah, that's I forget about that. Colorado State, Boston College. I don't know.
At this point, this is a kid that really just needs to, no, he needs to get plugged in and play. He's got to play. He doesn't have time to get developed. Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. This is very interesting to break down because this kid, you don't know what the scouts are. They think of him now. Obviously, we saw what we saw, and we saw the potential there, but obviously that was not consistent. And the product,
Dude,
this kid was not even the finishing quarterback, right? Like he did not finish.
No. Like they went full option. I think also he was just thrown into a really shitty situation. Like Colorado was able to just dog on that Nebraska offensive line.
Exactly.
I don't think it was really his fault.
But yeah, I don't know if he gets another great chance. Maybe this guy just goes low Division I.
I think he could go to a school kind of did what Casey Thompson and just go to FAU or a school like that.
FIU. I love that. FIU is exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Coastal Carolina.
Somewhere where he could play and then, get a training day spot. That's
Yeah, exactly. But once again, this guy could blow up and then be that guy. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. He's one of those. You simply gotta watch.
This is the best way to put Jeff Sims. Boom or bust.
Yeah, boom or bust. Exactly. And he's been that way his whole career, even in high school. That's why he went to a place like Georgia Tech and not Florida State.
Any other thought on any transfer QB in the portal? Is there anyone you're expecting to make a jump into the portal? Because it happens during bowl season.
Yeah. Oh, anyone that I am expecting to make a jump?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Who am I expecting? Because I feel like there is. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Mostly backups. I'm not really expecting any starters at this point to jump in.
I wonder if Ty Simpson enters the transfer portal.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Alabama backups because Buckner's already gone. He's playing lacrosse. Simpson Probably because Milrose got another year and he's not going to the draft.
And Sayan, I think Sayan could be developed after 1 year too.
Oh, dude, I could talk all day about that kid.
Um,
He's special.
The only guy I would say is Byron Brown from USF. I wonder if he wants to test the market.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the only quarterback I can think of. I will say I think Kai Horton, the backup for Tulane behind Michael Pratt, that kid might, end up just going to Houston. So
yeah, I don't got anything else other than that though.
We talked about a lot of guys on here. And I think we did a pretty good job with explaining, especially, with kids that were more familiar, but even just talking about these names and what we know about them. Like, no one really thinks, like, I've been listening to a couple shows and podcasts here and there about a lot of these guys, and no one really brings up these names. So it's kind of nice to just
be the niche in that area.
Yeah. So just bring up guys that like people know and like they're just like, oh, we're guys that they never heard of, and then they might go watch them and be like, oh, maybe these guys know a thing or two about football, which is why you should subscribe, like, share, do everything that you're supposed to do once you hear our beautifully and lovely vocals. Make sure to follow us on socials, and stay tuned, because guess what? We got offensive skilled, defense, and then also when it comes more to the end of the transfer portal, we'll give our rankings and what we think about these classes. Thank you for listening. And, whenever you're listening to this, I hope you're enjoying your time during that part of the day.